Good evening and welcome to our virtual Post-16 Open Evening at Ilkley Grammar School. My name is Jamie Gutch. I'm the Deputy Head Teacher and Director of Post-16. Just a few things at the beginning. This is a live event. It's actually our third Teams event live, so please bear with us if there are any technical issues or any delays. You will see that there's a question and answer function on Teams. Alternatively, you could also email the Post16 email address, and that will be monitored throughout the evening. Our open evening this evening is different, but it has been an opportunity for us to look at things differently, and we've taken the opportunity this evening to showcase Post16 through Shobi, our learning platform. So do take the opportunity later on to have a look at what's on there. While we are a popular choice for Post16, we are not taking anyone for granted, and we want all of you to choose IGS for positive reasons, not because we're the only option, but because we're the best option for you. So what's going to happen during the presentation this evening? In a moment, I'm going to hand you over to Mrs. Burnell, our head teacher, who's going to introduce some aspects of Post16. Then you're going to hear from some students this evening, some students who joined us for the first time in Post16, and our two head students, Emma and Jamie. Then I'm going to talk about personal development and leadership and go on to talk about where all of this leads. I'm also going to share with you my vision for Post16. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Purnell.
Good evening, everyone, and a very warm, albeit remote welcome to parents, to carers, and of course to students. Whether you're currently studying with us at IGS or you are looking to join us for the first time into Post16. The current situation has certainly created some uncertainty, some unprecedented situations and challenges, and forced us into new ways of working. But young people have shown tremendous resilience, and there's undoubtedly a lot to be optimistic about, particularly on an evening like this, which is focused on looking at next steps and your futures. It really is an exciting time. Whilst of course we would much prefer to be speaking to you face to face in person, we do hope that the presentation, alongside the opportunity to hear from some of our current students, will give you a clear insight into what we have to offer, not only in terms of the quality of education at IGS, but also the very strong pastoral care and the extensive wider opportunities for personal development. So our whole school vision continues to capture the essence of what we're about at IGS. Our overriding aim, of course, is for all students to enjoy an exceptional, inclusive learning experience and for them to achieve everything that they're capable of, their personal best. Now, at Post16, an important part of our inclusion is welcoming students from other providers, from selective schools, private schools, comprehensive schools, including, of course, our partner school within the Trust, the Skipton Academy. And this year we were delighted to welcome almost 60 new students from a range of schools, a figure which is growing year on year. Of course, while we support and challenge all students to achieve their full academic potential, it's equally important for us that students are equipped with the confidence, with the skills, with the personal qualities to make a positive difference to their own lives and to the lives of others. At Post16, we place particular emphasis on independence, on innovation, ambition, courage and compassion. Because if students are to be fully equipped to live and work, thrive and lead in tomorrow's world, then their academic success is of equal importance to their personal development and the shaping of their character. And we want them to be the very best versions of themselves. Our curriculum is a real strength of the school, and it's built on academic foundations which promote very high standards and offer rigour, depth and breadth. I'll just talk through some of the things that we offer at IGS. First of all, as with most post-16 providers, our entry criteria for admission to post-16 is 5 grade 4s, including either maths or English. Individual subjects, of course, clearly then have their own criteria. So, for example, to study A-level maths, you need a grade 7 GCSE maths or above. To study psychology, you need a grade 5 in English, a science and maths. And all those details can be found on the post-16 section of the website under the admissions tab, as well as in the Shobi folders, which Mr. Gutch will speak to you about later on this evening. We do offer an extensive range of academic courses, and that includes 25 different A-level courses, from biology to fine art, economics to computer science, French to fashion, alongside a range of well-respected level 3 applied qualifications as well, from sport to media, IT to health and social care, and our latest course, which we introduced this year, criminology. I think with 32 courses on offer at level 3, it does represent one of the widest offers in the region, and that means we're able to offer very highly personalised programmes of study which give every individual the very best chance of success. I'm sure as head teacher you would expect me to comment briefly on our results, so I won't disappoint you there, but we are really proud of our students and the high academic standards that they achieve at post-16. Our 4-year averages clearly show the outstanding attainment that consistently is secured at post-16, with over a third of all grades at the highest grades, AA star, over 2/3 of grades at A star to B, and nearly 84% at A star to C. You know, clearly we celebrate, we promote, we're proud of those standards, but what's also particularly important to us is the progress that our students make, you know, dependent on their GCSE starting points. Our ALPS 3-year T-score places in the top 25% of all schools nationally across the last 3 years, and our ALPS this year placed us at ALPS 1, in line with the very best of schools. Of course, our Ofsted inspection back in March 2017 now judged the school to be outstanding in all areas, and that did include post-16, and if you haven't done so, I would encourage you to have a look at that inspection report, because it does provide external validation of all the positive things that we are saying to you this evening. And just before I finish and pass on to the students, I've just selected a couple of those key quotes from that report about outstanding progress of students and outstanding teaching, but also the student attitudes that are displayed and the high levels of independence and cooperation that exists within our post-16 students. I've also just there taken a short quote from our Red Kite peer review, which was only last year, led by a trained Ofsted inspector and involving head teachers from schools within the Red Kite Alliance. And they also testified to our outstanding post-16 provision, and again students valuing not only expert specialist teaching but also the strong curricular offer, the careers advice and guidance that they get, and the inclusivity that they felt as part of their experience. I think that's enough from me. I'm actually going to pass over now to our head students, Emma Whittaker-Pitts and Jamie Rimington, who are going to talk to you about their experiences of post-16.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining this open evening presentation today. I'm Emma Whittaker-Pitts, the head girl here at Ilkley Grammar School, and I'm currently studying Spanish, History and Biology at A-level. And after A-levels, I hope to study Spanish and Latin American Studies at Durham University. In terms of my future, I would love to get into broadcast journalism or the media, which sounds quite daunting but exciting. To be honest, I'm not completely sure, but I am looking forward to seeing where university life will take me. IGS really has the most rewarding, challenging yet welcoming post-16 community. I personally believe that I've thrived in years 12 and 13, and this is down to the incredible teaching and encouragement given here. I understand that because I am a student at IGS, it seems obvious that I would praise the school. However, I truly believe that if your children do come to our post-16, they will get the highest level of support from both teachers and students, which will make them feel really confident for the next steps of their life. In post-16 at IGS, we have many privileges as part of the older years, and we set an example to those in the younger years. We are rewarded with independent study periods where we can designate our time to homework and revision. And although it is clear that at A-level, the subjects are a lot more challenging than at GCSE, we get given more than enough time to focus on these subjects and do the very best that we can, both inside and outside of lessons. IGS post-16 is the perfect community for you to find yourself as a person and realise the type of path that you would like to take in your future. And the support here makes these choices so much easier, and you feel the help every step of the way. The guidance and unlimited amount of development opportunities that we offer means that our personal statements stand out and are very strong. For example, we have iLeader opportunities where you can help younger years in specific subjects, leading them. Also, there are MOOCs, massive open online courses, which enable you to delve deeper into specific areas of your favourite subject. Other courses develop your leadership skills. With Eton X, you can develop the indispensable skills from being empathetic to practicing assertiveness. Access to wider reading lists also informs students of how to build a strong and unique personal statement and CV, which will catch the attention of universities and employers. A lot of these are opportunities which cannot be offered at a lot of other sixth forms, and they encourage the development of independent and mature members of our sixth form. I really can't imagine being part of another post-16. The close-knit and the inclusive learning environment encourages everybody to thrive, no matter what school they've come from, and I'm very proud to be a part of this.
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to our open evening presentation. My name is Jamie Remington, and I, like Emma, have recently been appointed a head student here at Ilkley Grammar School. At the moment, I'm studying French, politics and geography at A-level, and I plan on going on to study law at university and then hopefully becoming a barrister. The first thing that you'll notice coming into Ilkley Grammar School's sixth form is the support that you feel from staff. Those who are already at IGS know that our pastoral support is fantastic, but in sixth form, that support is amplified. The team in the sixth form centre really make themselves available to you, and it can seem like a big change, especially if you're coming from a different school, but the huge number of staff who are happy to make themselves available to you helps all our sixth form students to feel supported and comfortable. IGS boasts a huge range of subject choices for A-level, with courses like criminology and theatre studies showing the huge variety of choices on offer. However, I think what's more special is the amazing teaching that our staff provides. Lessons feel like an academic discussion, and the environment really encourages you to achieve your personal best. I believe also that the smaller class sizes at Ilkley tend to help with your learning, as you get so much more one-on-one interaction with staff, which is just one of the many reasons for our long history of fantastic A-level results. However, the role of our teachers extends far beyond the classroom. By the end of year 12, our students are thinking about their future, and Ilkley has a really strong set of resources to help us make these decisions. Events such as Next Steps Week offer advice for applications, and our form tutors spend loads of time looking at our personal statements and supporting our sixth formers with their applications generally. At IGS, you always feel like the priority, and I personally am so grateful for the amount of help that I've received during my application. I know that feeling is shared by everybody else in the year. We pride ourselves on our community. There are often times when young people feel misunderstood, but at Ilkley, the feeling that you get is one of acceptance. Everyone fits in. The huge variety of extracurricular activities help students not only to find new passions, but also to find our niche, while groups such as LGBT Safe Space and Place to Be, our school counselling service, allow us to feel safe, supported, and able to express ourselves. I believe this culture of inclusivity helps to shape our students into well-rounded individuals, which explains why so many of our applicants gain places into exceptional universities and sought after apprenticeships. Not only are they academically very successful, but mature, confident young people. I am proud to be a student at Ilkley Grammar School, and I know that if you decide to join us, you will be too. Thank you very much for listening. I'll now hand you over to Jess and Rosie, who are talking about their experience as students who started IGS in Year 12.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jass. I started Ilkley Grammar last year, new in Year 12 from a different school. So initially when I started, as I'm sure many of you are who are watching today, I was quite worried that it would be quite hard to integrate into a new school community from somewhere different because it felt like everyone already knew each other. But when I started, I soon realised that the school community was really welcoming and all the students were really happy to talk to us as newcomers and make us feel welcome. By November, I would say I had an established group of friends, which I've carried through into Year 13 and hopefully will far beyond the end of this year. Some of the best friends I've ever had that I've just made within the course of the year. And now I would say it's basically impossible to see the difference between the new students and the students who have been at the school since Year 7. We're just all integrated in. My advice would be, if you're thinking of coming to IGS from a different school, is to immerse yourself into the school community and engage with as many people as you can. And I would also say, definitely don't stress if you don't find a whole friend group straight away or put too much pressure on yourself to do so. Remember that friendship groups change hugely within schools anyway, so there will always be lots of other new starters as well. So remember, it's not just you and you're not just alone. That really helped me. If you're on the fence about whether to start IGS, I would recommend just going for it. It's a great experience to push yourself out of your comfort zone into a new school environment, which is full of new opportunities, and make new lifelong friends. And I don't regret 1 minute of my move.
Hi, I'm Rosie, and I was also a new starter in 2019 to IGS. I'm currently studying English, Literature, Maths and Sociology, which I'm really enjoying. I think one of the key things that made my transition much easier was the communication that was available with staff. My form tutor acknowledged that I was a new starter from the very beginning, but he didn't make too much of a thing of it. He let me navigate new social situations, but was always there if I needed it. I also felt this from the sixth form as a whole. The sixth form office was so easily accessible for a chat, which was really, really nice to have. I also think the experience has developed me a lot socially. There are challenges being a new student, but the sixth form was really helpful in making that easier for you. And I've also learned to deal with these social situations now where I haven't known anybody, and made a lot of great friends through this. I think looking forward to university, these new social skills are going to be a real asset, really, and that will make things a lot easier as it's a very similar social situation. If anything, it'll be easier because everyone's new. I'd also just finally like to say that I felt that IGS was really inclusive, it didn't feel cliquey, and I very much received a warm welcome into the community that I'm proud to be a part of now.
Thank you very much to our students from the Post-16 leadership team, and part of me thinks that I should quit while we're ahead. After having listened to their words. But before I talk about the personal development side of Post-16, I just want to give you a quick breakdown of a timetable, the shape of a timetable, because I think that can be really useful. So if we just look at the top of the screen here, at the top we have tutorials, and in Year 12 those continue each morning, and that contact with the tutor is a really, really important relationship for us in Year 12, and it's an evolution from the tutor time that we have in lower school, focusing on things that are relevant to next steps, for example. Secondly, the main substance, the main body of your timetable will be your subjects, and that will be 3 A-levels or BTEC courses, and then a fourth option, which could be an AS level, it could be an enrichment option. Those are the extended project qualification. You can find out about that on Shobi. The sports leader qualification, which carries UCAS points, or work experience, which is incredibly valuable experience for the world of work. Or a number of students choose a fourth A-level to make up the main body of their timetable, and that is up to 11 lessons in each subject. We also have our curriculum enhancement programme, which we call CEP, which focuses on more general cross-curricular content, looking at study skills at the start of Year 12, looking at mental health with dedicated lessons to that area of school life, then moving on to life skills and starting to look at next steps and universities, as well as British values and things that might be going on in contemporary society, such as major political events, major events going on around the world. Personal best time, which many of you will be familiar with from lower down in school, exists as well in Year 12, but it evolves again in Year 12 and 13 into something which is specific to the needs of Year 12 and 13 students. And so after initial PBT time at the start of Year 12, we move into having individual tutor mentor meetings with students. Mrs. Pickard has introduced iTalks, which is the IGS model of TED Talks, which are external speakers who come in to speak on a range of topics on a Wednesday morning. And then it's also an opportunity for our students to take on leadership roles. And I think last year we had around 50 students in Year 12 who became PBT leaders, and they went into tutor time in Year 7 and 8 in pairs and led PBT sessions in those year groups. And then finally, you will find on your timetable study periods. And in Year 12, the majority of those will be supervised study periods, currently based in the library. But some of them will be independent study periods, and we're leaving that responsibility to you to decide what it is and how you want to study. In effect, we use a graduated approach to that. So we build up that independence over the course of Year 12 and 13, so people take on that freedom when they're ready for it. So, what are these personal development and leadership opportunities in post-16? What is it that gives our students, or that we hope will give our students, the edge when they come to apply for university and apprenticeships and jobs? Starting this year, we're gathering the experiences that go on around the timetable into what we're calling a personal development folder on Shobi. And you can see here the range of experiences that are gathered in this area. Now, there's a reason for moving on to Shobi here, as well as that being our learning platform and the source of much of our academic content, is because we can move very, very easily between in-person lessons and virtual provision. And so part of the thinking behind our provision for personal development is that it can be delivered, as well as our academic provision, virtually if necessary. What you see here is a summary, a best effort as a summary of what is on offer around the curriculum. And a lot of these things can take place within the curriculum. There are leadership opportunities within lessons. There are enrichment opportunities within lessons. But there is also a wealth of opportunities that take place outside of lessons. I'm not going to go through all of these now. There is a summary of this slide, which you will find on Shobi if you go there after this presentation. But what I am going to do is I'm going to just pick out one from each area and talk in a little bit more depth. So firstly, just want to focus in on leadership in post-16. And Mr. Boyd, who's been leading on leadership, student leadership for a number of years, has done a fantastic job in growing the number of students across the school, but particularly in post-16, who are taking on leadership opportunities. And you can see about 14 opportunities listed there. Recently, we've just had 24 students in Year 12, about 10% of the year group, who have signed up to become Wellbeing leaders, which is a new leader role, which is a really exciting direction for the school. And as I mentioned earlier, around 50 students in Year 12 will likely sign up to be leaders in personal best time, which means that they will work in lower school. And I think that's one of our unique selling points, really, is the fact that our sixth form is blended with a very large Key Stage 3 and 4. So there are huge opportunities for students in our sixth form to take on very meaningful leadership activities during their career in post-16. It's leadership development on a large scale. And if I was to summarise the shift that I think we've been seeing over the last 3 years, it's been a shift from teacher-led activities to student-led activities. And a really good example of that is our post-16 student leadership team, who have self-initiated a peer mentoring, academic peer mentoring on Teams with Year 12 students mentored by Year 13 students. I think also in terms of our leadership development, leadership is about doing things, and we want our students to do things, but we also want our students to think about what leadership means, particularly nowadays, particularly in the time we're living in at the moment. What does good leadership look like? How do we affect change in our community, whatever that community might be? And we did that during our Next Steps week with Year 12 through our Leadership in Action session, which we ran with Mark Stidworthy, the local mayor. And he talked to the students about his experience of affecting change at a community level. Our students have also had access to the free E2Next course, which is a fantastic free course that was made available at the start of lockdown and which is still available to students now. And the majority of our post-16 leadership team took that course and have completed that course as part of taking on the role of being on the post-16 SLT. And we've also created a leadership wider reading list, drawing on a range of texts and films that focus on leadership in all its wide variety. And that forms part of our wider reading lists that we've developed in every subject. I also, secondly, just wanted to focus in on mental health and well-being, because we all know that that is a very, very important thing at the moment. And I just wanted to talk about how we are structuring that. And I do believe that we are well placed to meet the challenges that we may need to face over the coming months and possibly years. So at the broad base of our graduated approach to supporting student well-being, we have lessons in personal best time and in CEP, which are taught by teachers. There are also self-help resources made available on the personal development folder, which students can access at any time. We're also exploring, as part of this new role that Mr. Adams has within Post-16, across the school, we're also exploring developing student leaders who will be accredited to deliver peer support. But we all know that sometimes we face challenges where we really need to talk to someone more experienced. We have a fantastic Post-16 team of very experienced, and Harriet at the centre of that in the Post-16 hub, who is there each day to support students. And that graduates to our full-time school counselling service, which students in Post-16 can access if they need it, like any other student in the school. So it's a graduated approach from self-help to really pinpointed, bespoke provisions. We also want students to have access to what is called the best that has been thought and said. And students have access to that through their lessons, through the expertise of our very stable and experienced staff. But beyond that, we also want students to be exposed to the ideas that are at the cutting edge of their subjects. So last year we introduced a series of talks called the Cutting Edge Talks, where people visited to school and spoke to students about what was at the cutting edge of their subject. And these are for people drawing on our parent community and the local academic community who were able to come in and meet and speak face to face with our students. And that can carry on virtually. The other thing I just wanted to mention in relation to debate and discussion is a student-led Year 13 discussion group, which I was actually joined today, which has grown out of a group of students who wanted to discuss sensitive topics within school. And that's been a real revelation to me in terms of the complexity of the ideas that are being discussed. The first topic that was discussed by the students is, are there any topics that are not up for discussion? Finally, before I go on to some of the practical things for the rest of the evening, I just wanted to talk for a moment about our Next Steps provision. And our Next Steps week in June was during lockdown, and that forced our hand to some extent in order making it a virtual event. But what we realised in planning that, and Mr. Sykes took the lead on that, was that actually by offering it as a virtual event, we had a huge amount of flexibility, and potentially in the future we're able to attract a wider range of speakers from anywhere in the world potentially to speak to our students. So actually an experience during lockdown led to possibly one of the best Next Steps events that we've ever run, and has kind of shaped a model for how we think we want to deliver it in the future. So where does all of this lead? I think it's quite easy to take for granted what is achieved by students and the destinations that are secured by students at this school. But it is pretty special. As someone who's relatively new to Post16, it is very special to be a part of it. 85 to 90% of students continue into higher education from our Post16. Around 10 to 15% move on to apprenticeships, and that is a number, an employment, and that number is increasing year on year. An average of 45% of applicants over the last 3 years have obtained places at the more competitive Russell Group universities. And around 5% of students go on to study at Oxbridge or medicine-based courses each year. And since 2016, 20 students have progressed to Oxbridge. So that is an area where we can deliver and offer considerable expertise to students. And in this year, around 10% of applications have been submitted as part of the Apply Plus programme. One of the really interesting things, I was at a presentation by someone from Brasenose College on Monday evening. We had our Apply Plus group joined this gentleman on that evening, and he told us that IGS students were some of the best students that they'd ever had at Oxbridge. And he said that he wanted more of our students to apply. So that's a real challenge to you in year 11 now. Could you be part of that cohort that's going to increase the numbers from IGS to those destinations? How will the rest of this evening work? As we've said before, all the key information is available on the IGS website. This information is also mirrored on Shobi, our learning platform. And Shobi also has links to additional resources, so I really encourage you to explore that over the remaining time. Sign up or go on to Shobi to explore exemplar enrichment resources, narrated presentations from every subject area and enrichment areas, and listen to current year 13 students talking about their subject choices. If you have any questions, you can also email them through to post16@ilkleygs.co.uk, and we will respond as soon as we possibly can. Just a quick thing for people who are considering transport options. We know that that can be a consideration for people coming from further afield. If you would like to express an interest in the daily minibus from Skipton, please email us and provide us with a few pieces of information which will be available for you to see on Shobi. The timeline for applications opens now. We have received our first application, only one. Open evening this evening. We have a taster day in January, which is likely to be a virtual event, but we will release further details further down the line. Application forms and subject choices are due in February. We have formal interviews in March, and then we will be able to let you know the decision just after the Easter holidays. If you're new to Ilkley Grammar School, we would really appreciate you leaving us your details. There is a link which will be on Shobi, and that information I think will also be on the website, or just send us an email as well if you can't access that questionnaire, but it should work for you. So just finally, what's my vision for Post16? There are 3 words that I've carried with me over the last couple of years since I first started to work in Post16 following a role elsewhere at IGS. Firstly, community is very, very important to us. We've really realised, I think, the value of our community in recent months, and I think students really value being back in school and value what the community can offer. There are lots of different communities at IGS. There's the Post16 community, there are social groups, there's the wider community in Ilkley and beyond. There are elite communities for people who are practicing sport or other things at an elite level. There's also the academic community. So whatever your community is, whether it's a cultural community or something else, there will be a community for you here at IGS. And our belief is that we will all achieve more by working as part of a whole. The second, you've heard a lot about it this evening, is the value of leadership and the importance of leadership. We want to develop you as leaders, but we also want you to think about what makes a good leader. And a sign of our success will be the number of leaders we create in you, and then the number of leaders that you create as in students coming up the school. And then finally, the quality of courage. And in Post-16, we want you to take your own road. We want you to have the courage to speak out, to be open about the things that matter to you, to debate them and discuss them, and to not be afraid of doing the things that you believe in. And there are different ways of leading. You can lead quietly through peer mentoring or through paired reading with a Year 7 student. You can lead through writing articles for IGS News. You don't have to always be the loud leader who is standing up at the front. And there will be there will be courage all along the way. So I think that's enough from me, and I think it's time for us to leave you to go on to Shobi and have a look at our website and to ask us any questions if you have them. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Please look at the resources on Shobi, including our new Post-16 welcome video. Thank you very much.